You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, a concept we are all too familiar with. Friends have a significant impact on various aspects of life, including our financial well-being. In this video, let's look at some ways your friends might be unintentionally keeping you poor and find some ways to avoid falling for this trap. Let's begin. Before we begin, I want to start by saying that you should not be blaming your friends for your financial situation. I'm not here to tell you that. What I'm here to talk about is how your friends might be affecting your mindset when it comes to money. At the end of the day, nobody should be blamed for your financial situation. We should all be held accountable for our own financial journey. And it goes without saying that nothing in this video is financial or life advice, so please take your own decisions. Now, with that out of the way, let's look at the first thing, that is influence and peer pressure. Now, this one is a very obvious point, that you might be influenced by your friends, often subconsciously. You may not even know what you're doing. Their approach to money might become your approach to money as well without even knowing about it. For example, a friend's casual approach to money management can subconsciously influence your behavior to start spending money recklessly as well. Now, I understand that a lot of you might be thinking, hey, I'm not getting influenced by my friends. I take my own decision. But trust me, humans are social animals and we are taking some decisions which are purely based on emotions and not logic. This is true when it comes to spending money as well. You might be thinking, hey, I'll just do this because I'm going to have fun with my friends, but you don't realize that it's costing you a lot of money that you may not be able to afford. This might also happen simply because of peer pressure. You're often feeling this pressure to do something with your friends. The fear of being judged or excluded for making different financial choices might play a key role in this. The pressure to conform to the group's spending habits and lifestyle may be playing a key role in this, and you might be taking some decisions that are extremely bad for your financial situation. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this. Influence and peer pressure is something you're all too familiar with. Just imagine, how many times have you said yes to something when you really wanted to say no? Yes, I know, I have too, and a lot of people do the same. You go along with things even when you don't want to because you feel this pressure which you don't truly even understand. The only way to tackle this is to actually develop the right money mindset for yourself. You need to identify your money values and stick to them. Often in your life, friends will come and go and you might end up doing things that you may regret later, and it'll end up costing you a lot of money. This is something you should truly try to avoid. Learn to say no to social pressures, especially when you don't want to do something. It's extremely important to learn this as a life skill as well. A lot of successful and rich people often say that learning to say no was one of the most important life skills that they have learned, and you too should learn it. Now, I understand that when it comes to saying no to friends, it can be very difficult, but this is something you have to learn. So as I continue with this video, there's something I want to clarify. When it comes to certain close friends, the best friends, you can make some exceptions for sure. I do have a couple of people in my life for whom I'll make some exceptions. There's certain things I don't really enjoy doing, for example drinking, but for them I'll make the exception and spend money on it when the time comes. But again, I'm not going to go crazy with my spending either. I'm going to find a balance and stick to it. Talking about influence and peer pressure actually brings us to another point, that is keeping up with the Joneses. Simply put, I actually see it as being part of the social rat race. Feeling the need to keep up to maintain social status or avoid feeling left behind can be incredibly powerful. You might end up overspending to impress or gain acceptance from your friends. You will feel the need to match the spending habits of your friends. For example, you see a set of friends going to Japan. Now you too want to go to Japan as soon as possible just to keep up with them. Now Japan is a beautiful place and you should definitely visit, but only when your financial situation permits you to do so, not just because you want to keep up with your friends. Keeping up with the Joneses often goes hand in hand with lifestyle inflation as well. When it comes to social circles, a lot of us are in similar boats. A lot of people are getting raises at work, including you. Now what you want to do is start spending more money because you start seeing that your friends are spending more money because they're making more money. Now that is literally the definition of lifestyle inflation. You start spending more money because you're making a little bit more money, and that's not the way to live your life. You should only try to inflate your lifestyle once you have enough money or when the situation demands you to. Do you really need a bigger house? Do you really need the newest iPhone? Do you really need the new watch? These are the questions you should ask yourself before taking your decisions, not just because your friends are doing it. Again, when it comes to this, the most important thing is your money mindset. Try not to play the social status game for sure. That's the surest way to start losing money just because you want to keep up some appearances. Treat money as acquiring more options and eventually acquiring freedom in life. There's also another practice that I've seen among a lot of friends, that is lending and borrowing money. There are lots of friend groups where you borrow and lend money quite easily, disregarding your own financial situation all too often. The pressure to lend money to your friends even when it strains your own finances is not the way to go. This can basically lead to straining relationships and creating resentment over money issues. Now I understand that you might have difficulty saying no no to a friend who's actually in need, but you have to really think for yourself as well. You too have a life to live and you too have a financial journey to pursue. I've actually known a lot of people who constantly borrow money from their friends without actually repaying them, and these friends have a very hard time actually asking for the money back even when they need it. Now, the flip side of this is that you can also maintain a very healthy friend circle where you are borrowing and lending money but also settling it on a regular basis. Actually, I do this with my friends. We use an app called Splitwise to actually settle everything at the end of the month. This helps us stay on top of our finances and also avoids actually having to ask for money back. The main thing is that if you're in a bad financial situation, think twice before asking for money, but also think twice before lending money. Your true friends will understand why you're taking these decisions and you will respect yourself more for following your money principles. One of the other reasons why you might be subconsciously keeping yourself poor because of your friends is actually fear of missing out. Ah yes, fear of missing out is something we all have to deal with. It's something we speak about often on this channel when it comes to investing, but it's also very prevalent when it comes to social circles. Now this one's the easiest to understand. Your friends are going somewhere and now you want to go too because you fear that you'll miss out on something interesting or an experience that you may not come across again. In these situations, you have to ask yourself two questions. First, do you really want to do this? And secondly, can you really afford to do this? Now, if the answer to both questions is yes, that's when you decide to do it, or else you should stay the away from it. There's also another kind of FOMO that plays a big role nowadays, that is the FOMO created by social media. Social media is often amplifying FOMO, tempting you to spend money to keep up appearances. Firstly, you, me, and everybody else in the world needs to understand that social media is actually not the real world and not everything happening on Instagram is happening in real life. Just because somebody does something they seem very happy about it doesn't mean they actually are. And it also doesn't mean that you should go out and start doing as well. For example, you should never take the decision to go to a cafe or restaurant just to take a few pictures that you can post on Instagram and it can get a few likes and validation from your peers. There are a lot of people living their lives that way and that's not the way to live your life. If you are doing that, please stop it today and try to avoid it at all costs. When it comes to social media, even your closest friends are often only showing you the best parts of their life. There's a lot happening under the hood that you may not know of, and you may not even know their financial situation, and they don't know yours. So stop taking decisions based on social media and FOMO. Now, the next 2 points are extremely important, and I'm going to spend a little bit extra time talking about them. Let's start by looking at bad company and financial enablers. So far in the video, I had assumed that we were talking about friends in general, but now I'm going to talk about friends who may not be the right friends for you. Now, these are friends who consistently make poor financial decisions, but also encourage you to spend money in the wrong ways. They often make you spend money irresponsibly and they normalize and reinforce these bad habits because they have these bad habits. We have all known some of these people. These are the friends who will discourage and mock you when it comes to saving, investing, and spending your money wisely. These are the people we have to stay away from. Even if you don't want to stay away from them, that's totally okay, but you need to understand that you should not listen to them and stick to your money principles. If I could take the decision for you, I would say that just stay away from financial enablers and bad company because they don't have your best interest in their mind anyway. Financial goals are as important as any other goals in life and it should be treated as such. If there are people in your life who don't understand why you're trying to save or invest money or reach financial freedom, you should just ignore them or stay away from them completely. This actually brings us to the next point, that is sacrificing your financial security for social bonds. This can actually come in various different forms. For example, having a friend who's a financial enabler is an example of it. But also, it could be that you're choosing the comfort of being around your friends over better career opportunities that can get you more money. I've often come across people who don't want to leave a city or leave behind a job because their friends are there. Now, all of us understand that having friends and family around you is a great thing. You get to have more fun, you also have a support system whenever you need it. However, when it comes to your career and making money, there are often phases in life when you need to prioritize them. There are often times when you'll have to sacrifice short-term social connections over long-term financial stability. Also, neglecting to invest in skills or education that could improve your financial prospects is never a good thing. Again, I'm not saying that you should sacrifice your friendships and completely forget about your friends, but sometimes in life, in the short term, you need to take some decisions that are very hard. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a much more sustainable lifestyle because of those decisions. Now, sacrificing financial security for social bonds is actually something that plays a role in your day-to-day activities as well, and something that applies to every single point that we have discussed today. You should always try to find a balance when it comes to taking financial decisions in the context of social connections. Your true friends will understand why you're making these decisions and they will stand by you as you make them. Now I'm going to talk about 5 steps that you should definitely be taking to avoid financial pitfalls, especially in the context of friends. The first one is is to set clear financial boundaries. Make sure that you establish and communicate financial priorities with your friends. This is something that I've spoken about throughout the video. Understand your money values, establish your money principles and stick to them, and learn to say no to your friends when necessary. The next one is to also find frugal alternatives for socializing. If you are in a financial pickle, you can always suggest budget-friendly alternatives when making plans with your friends. There are lots of low-cost things that you could actually be doing with your friends. You don't have to go to an escape room. You can always play board games at home. You don't always have to go to an expensive restaurant. You can also go to the beach or go on a hike. That's also fun. But it's really up to you. You decide and suggest to your friends and figure out a balance to make sure things are working out well. The next one is to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Try to seek out some friends who share similar financial values and goals. This is actually the best option, where you're surrounding yourself with people who are also financially responsible. They enjoy saving and investing as much as you do. Now, this one's a tricky one where it may or may not work out for you. And this is where the next point comes in, that is to lead by example. You can always demonstrate responsible financial behavior in front of your friends and they might start following you. Now, I'm not bragging, but this is something that I have done. Because of me, a lot of people have started investing around me. I talk about money, investing and saving so much that a lot of people get curious and start asking me questions and start following some of the principles that I follow as well. For example, it's fun when somebody starts investing because you invest, but it's not that great when somebody buys into a stock or crypto which you have bought into and it ends up going down. But of course, as long as they're on the right path, I'm happy about it. The last point that I want to talk about is to always prioritize your financial education. Invest in your own financial literacy and make informed decisions and resist peer pressure. Even if your friend circle isn't into it, read personal finance books, follow reputable financial blogs and podcasts. At the end of the day, it's very hard to become financially responsible, and it's even harder to make others do it. If everybody became financially responsible, the world wouldn't be the way it is today. It's just not feasible. So start by educating yourself and prioritizing your own financial goals and stop worrying about others. Even if your friend circle isn't into it, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be. So those were all the things I wanted to talk about in this video. Remember, your friends play a significant role in your financial well-being, for better or worse. Be very aware of social influences, set clear goals and communicate openly, and surround yourself with supportive individuals. You need to break free from the cycle of bad financial habits that has been plaguing this world. Your true friends will understand it, and you need to support the friends who are trying to achieve the same. I'll see you next week in a new video. Till then, keep learning and stay on top of your finances. Until next time.